Hey, welcome back to HFR. Thanks for tuning in today. In today's episode, we're checking out XM's Hawkeye. He was actually one of their earlier pieces. I'm not sure exactly when he was released, but stay tuned and find out how he stacks up against some of the more modern offerings, including some of the ones I've reviewed recently. And Barton, don't you even think about it. We'll be right back. Ow! You little... He hit me, but it was just a flesh wound. So, all right, first up, we got Concept. So in some of the forums I've seen when I was researching this piece, actually the artist originally was going to put him on stairs. You can find photos, and hopefully I can find the photo of that to show you. And then he ended up having him on like suspended stairs, which was kind of unusual. And then we eventually arrived at this concept, which quite honestly is, I mean, it's cool in the fact that it looks like a battle's taking place, you know, and destruction and all that, but I like the fact that it shows off Barton's acrobatic side. You know, they have him elevated, and he has the higher ground.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
I don't know what these pipes are. Are they handrails? Are they supposed to be like plumbing pipes? They just don't really make a lot of sense on what they are. You know, this could have been a light post broken off, you know, with the light down here instead of the hydrant. Just a little strange choice of the way that they did things. This could be something like a mailbox tipped over that he's standing over instead of just this random block. Didn't seem to me like the artist had a good vision for exactly what he wanted to do with the base. He knew that he wanted Barton in this type of a pose, you know, which is cool. I like it. The pose, no criticism, but he didn't quite know how to execute it. How was he elevated? What was he doing? He did have the foresight with him being a little tall here that if you have a shorter display case that you can display him like this. Also, he gave 3 different arrow options, which are cool. Various gadgets that Hawkeye has. And he also gave the classic bow from probably the original Avengers look, which is cool, although I prefer the modern bow. I have no criticisms of him. I think it's, you know, a great pose, shows, you know, a dynamic, heroic style, but through the photos and what we ended up with, I just think the artist kind of didn't really have a vision for what he was doing. He was just kind of like, oh, I'll make him stand on a pipe, and oh, I'll make him stand on a block. And for that, I'm going to give Concept a 7. Next up is Construction. So, criticism number 1, it wobbles. This doesn't seat well, and it just seems that the pipe moves. The entire thing's got a little bit of a rickety thing going. And the second thing I actually discovered filming this video, I've never displayed him low. I've always had, because I have plenty of height in my cabinets. The foot peg here would not seat down properly here. So it was suspended like 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch off of the hydrant. So I literally had to take my side grinder and fix it to make it work. So strike there. But there's a lot of cool things. I like the metal arrows. Those are well done, well constructed. The way that the hand actually is attached to the bow so that keeps the tension here. The magnets are good and strong on everything. Another cool thing in the construction is the way that the quiver goes on. It is actually keyed to the back, and let's see if I can spin this around. There's actually magnets here. So this keys in here, and then the strap magnetizes into the quiver. So that was very smart, very cool. When I first saw that, I was impressed. That's well done. So overall, you got a lot of cool features, strong magnets, joints are tight, can't see seams, all that's excellent, but the foot would not go into the lower position properly, and it's rickety overall. So because of those two, I feel are kind of major issues, I'm going to give it an 8 on construction. Moving on to the sculpt, there's some really nice features here. Believe it or not, one of the highlights of the sculpt is the boots. Usually not a part that impresses me, but just the way that they sculpted these, the stitching in those, the texture that they sculpted into it, you can literally feel with your hand. Excellent execution there. I like the flare of the tunic, like it's blowing in the wind there, or suggesting movement, that he's just jumped up onto this perch, to aim at his target there. Just very well done. Musculature in general is pretty nice. His thighs are a little thick right here. He did not skip leg day. But the arms are excellent. The veining in there, just well done. Everything looks proportional. So as I discussed in concept, there was some flaws in the initial vision for what this was going to be. So I don't know how much you can blame the sculptor in sculpting a bad vision. The pipes are boring. They don't make any sense what it is. The hydrant is okay. It's nice. I've seen better on that. Huge flaw here. The ground makes 0 sense. You have gray concrete, I would assume. There should be a line denoted right here for the dirt. It makes 0 sense to have gray top and then all of a sudden go to dirt. Doesn't make any sense. The rubble's just kind of pedestrian. The base as a whole, the sculpt is just meh to below average, I would actually say. So criticisms of the character itself. They did not, for some reason, carry the texturing on the boots into the stripes down the tunic here. No idea why. They should have done it around the, whatever you call this, doodad, the sleeves here. It's completely smooth. So you have the boots texture, has the black texture. It's very cool. It's as I said, one of the highlights. Then they skip that here. Then they go back to the belt, and then you don't see it again until the mask. It's just kind of like haphazard. It's almost like somebody designed this, and then somebody designed this. I don't get it. It's a little strange. Probably one of the biggest flaws is the sculpt of the face and the head. It's okay. I mean, it's not horrible, but it's not great either. He just doesn't look heroic. He's just kind of fat-cheeked, got this big dimple, which I have a dimple also, but just got this hole in his chin. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. It's just average. Another fail is the sculpting of the arrows. They're just flat triangles with painted stripes. There's absolutely zero feathering whatsoever. And comparing that to the vulture sculpture, the feathers on that are fantastic. If they had just put the little ridges in there, would have made the arrows so much better. Another thing that is a huge pet peeve of mine is that if you research archery, the arrow goes on this side, not that side. I see this error all the time. The arrow should be like so, but you can't do that. They didn't design it that way. Fail. Sculpt of the character is solid. No issues there. Head sculpt could use some help. The arrows could use some help, but overall a solid effort, especially for an older piece. The base was a mess. It was a bad concept, sculpted poorly, executed poorly. Because of that, it's going to ding the score and bring it down to a 7. So moving on to paint. Paint on the base, as I've already discussed. There should be gray here. That's a failure. But the sculpt didn't lend itself to that. So the dirt is okay. Looks like chocolate cake, maybe. It's okay. Again, nothing special there. Nothing horrendous either. It's just okay. We have some sloppy lines here I'll show a photo of. They got it on the debris there, so it's a little sloppy there. Also, I would have liked to see a touch more weathering on it. It's a little, just, again, boring pedestrian, just kind of average on the paint job there. The pipes, what can I say, moving on. Don't like them. So, the good paint on the character, as I've already stated, the mask, the belt, the boots, parts of the quiver, the gloves, fantastic, well done. A little flat on the blue, it's okay. So if the paint job had lived up to the boots, he would have been awesome, but he didn't. So when I compare him to other pieces in my collection and just see the phenomenal paint jobs on those, I have to give him a score of 8. Next, we have presence. By presence, how does he look on the shelf? Are your eyes drawn to him? Is he a piece that you focus on and go, wow, cool, look at him? Interestingly, my wife puts this in the top 5 in my collection out of the 15 that I currently own. The color scheme she loves, her favorite color is purple, and I think the vibrant blue and the pose, dynamic pose. She also commented on how well the boots are executed. Hey, she's a woman. She loves shoes, go figure. But for me, it's lower tier. If I was forced to sell off my collection, he would be in some of the first ones to go. I just feel that if the base had been more dynamic, if it had made sense to me, I'm really strong on things making sense. So the fact that he's standing on these nondescript pipes just kind of bugs me. And he's a nice piece, but a very average piece. So because of that, I'm giving him a presence of 7. So wrapping up collective score, he's going to get a 37. He will be a statue that I'm parting with in the future, as I have this custom coming. Offers many more choices in head sculpt, in pose, and even this exclusive that is unmasked and has no pants.
Wow, that's extreme.
I feel if XM were to take on Hawkeye again today, it would be a lot better quality piece. The concept would be better. It would be more dynamic. It would be painted better. Just everything about it would be executed at a higher level. I have no doubt about that. So in spite of my criticisms and some flaws it has, you know, if you can find one about $700, it's a great representation of Hawkeye. It's a solid piece. If I didn't have that custom coming, happy to have it. I like it. I don't have things in my collection I don't like. So if you enjoyed the review, if you like seeing some older pieces, I'll be doing some ones that haven't probably been done in a while. Stay tuned. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get an email when the next one comes out. Until then, see ya. Solid piece. Just stick around and see what I have to say about you suck. Quite honestly, I haven't seen a lot of reviews lately, so I figured I'd pull him out and see what we got. No, you suck. And let's see how he stacks up against some of their more modern offerings. If you could talk, you suck. Need more booze.
I drink and I know things.